Okay, time to build a sales funnel. What's up guys, Jason here, aspiring entrepreneur, and in this video we are going to be talking about how to build a sales funnel and how to choose the correct sales funnel for your product or service. So to kick things off, we're going to go on a macro view and talk about the value ladder of your business and how that relates to building a sales funnel, and then we'll dive into an example of a very easy sales funnel you can set up within the next couple of weeks to sell just about any product or service, and then we'll wrap things up. Make sure you stick around at the end because I'm going to talk about something that actually can hurt your sales process and turn your sales funnel into a sales disaster. So make sure you stick around for that. So let's go ahead, dive straight in. One of the big things I always like to start with when talking about sales funnels is to zoom out on a macro scale and see that a sales funnel is really just a small piece in a bigger chunk that is your business, right? So this particular graphic shows the value ladder, if you will, of your business. It's kind of the big overarching sales funnel. And so when we talk about webinar sales funnels, launch sales funnels, VSL sales funnels, book sales funnels, all those fun things, those are just little baby steps along the way of what is your big macro sales funnel of how people can move from taking your free pieces of content all the way up to, your big coup de grace, product, if you will. And it's okay if you don't have this entire process filled out. Nobody does when they just want to get started. So we're going to focus in on the micro level, which is just putting together one sales funnel and focusing how to build one sales funnel to get started. Now, I want you to think of your sales funnel as a strategic relationship building process. Right? So we have that big macro view here of what your entire business sales funnel is going to look like. And then on a micro scale, we have multiple sales funnels that sell different products and services that solve different problems for our customers, right? And so each one of those sales funnels, whether it's the first sales funnel they go through or the fifth or sixth sales funnel a customer or prospect goes through with you, each one of them is about building a relationship and seeding the value of your product or service. Right? And so each sales funnel style, whatever type of sales funnel you're building, is just a strategic process to bring someone who doesn't really know that they need your product to, at the end of it, knowing that they need your product and are educated enough to make a good decision. That's kind of the marketing that goes into it, and the sales is that last 5 or 6 yards at the end of whatever your piece of content is, where you essentially throw all the benefits at them, and because they've been educated through your marketing process in your sales funnel, all the benefits you talk about make sense, right? But we still have to build up that relationship. So in this video, I want to go through a very basic sales funnel that you can get up and running in the next couple of weeks to help you sell pretty much any product or service. And then at the end, I'll talk about a big mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to setting up these style of sales funnels. So building a sales funnel starts with problems, right? Your product or service, if you've already built it, probably solves problem Y or Z, right? So what you want to do is look at your ideal customer and ask the question, what is a problem I can solve for them in 30 minutes or less, right? So what you want to do is come up with a 30-minute video, essentially, that has 3 to 5 steps of solving problem X. So you're going to start your funnel with a landing page that says, hey, you can solve problem X in just these few short videos. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that 30-minute video and you're going to chop it up into 3 or 4 parts. And on your landing page, you're going to talk all about how you can solve problem X for them and how this little video series is going to be a great solution for solving problem X. You talk about the benefits you deliver and all the wonderful things that are going to happen once they've done watching those videos, right? You can check out the channel for copywriting tips and tricks and everything that goes into creating the actual landing page. Here we're just talking about how to build the funnel. So that's the front end of the funnel. And then over the next couple of days, you now have a excuse, if you will, to email them over and over again to drive them to those 3 to 4 videos. And so over the next couple of days, you send them emails. They're 100% content-based saying, hey, check out video 1, check out video 2, check out video 3. In fact, on your thank you page, I actually recommend that you just kick things off right off the bat with video 1, and then you follow up with 2, 3, and 4, just depending on how much time you want to invest. It doesn't have to be 4, but I think 3 is a good number to start with. And so over the next couple of days, they receive some emails, they get some value, and through this process, you are solving problem X and you are delivering a tremendous amount of value. And then if there are any objections that you run into with your product, you probably want to weave those in as well. But again, the purpose is to focus on the problem that you are solving for your customer, problem X, because your customer cares about problem X. You care about handling objections to video are going to come up in video 3 or 4 when you present your essentially product or service to solve problem Y. And so what you want to do here is have those videos, and then in video number 3 or 4, you say, hey, by the way, I hope you enjoyed this quick video series. Here is my product or service that solves problem Y. It does a great job of it. I think you should go check it out. Obviously you're going to have a much better sales pitch than that, right? And then hopefully they buy, right? And if they've purchased, then you immediately offer them 2 or 3 upsell offers to solve some additional problems. And done. That's all you need to build a sales funnel from scratch. Okay, I'm just kidding. There's a little more to it than that, right? You have to figure out the landing page software you want to use. You have to write all the copy. And again, a link in the description to a bunch of resources to help you with all those little fine details. We're just focusing on the big picture building here. And so what I want to end with is a big warning when it comes to building your sales funnel, when it comes to designing this sales process. And that is something when it comes to problem X, and when it comes to problem Y, and when it comes to problem Z. And this is something that I've actually seen in other people's sales funnels, and it can just be a huge turnoff and turn your sales funnel into a sales disaster. And I was very specific in this video saying problem X and problem Y. And here's why. Because with your funnel, you want to be solving a problem that is different than the problem that your product solves. And this is for 2 reasons. Number 1, if your funnel process solves problem Y and your product solves problem Y, well, all of a sudden, there doesn't seem to be any reason to purchase your product or service because you should have solved the problem in your sales funnel process. Or worse yet, number 2, you didn't actually solve problem Y, and so people have gone through, spent time watching 30 or 40 minutes of content, and all of a sudden at the end of it, you say, oh, actually, just kidding. I'm actually not going to solve the problem I promised you on the landing page and I've been building up to in this series. You're actually going to have to buy my product to solve the problem. Well, then people are going to get upset. Yes, you will get some people to buy because they're itching. They're like, yeah, I want to solve the problem. Okay, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to purchase. But the overwhelming majority are going to take a step back and feel like they've been cheated because they opted in to get a question answered. And you're now saying, you're switching things around and saying, actually, I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to force you to pay for it. Whereas if problem X is a legitimate problem, you solve it, you've built a relationship, and you've shown that you can solve problems, all of a sudden when you bring up problem Y, they go, well, you just solved problem X for me, and I didn't really know that problem Y was this big of a deal, so I guess I better solve problem Y too, and you seem to be pretty good at solving problems for me because you just solved problem X, so I guess I'll go ahead and purchase. And here's the key when they purchase. Problem Y is solved, problem X is solved. You solved problem X in the sales process, you seeded how big problem Y was in your final video and pitch, they purchased your initial product to solve problem Y, and now it's time to bring up problem A, B, and C in your upsell sequence. Right? I like to use the example of buying a shirt. You go and you buy a nice, white dress shirt or blouse. It doesn't make sense for the person behind the counter to all of a sudden say, hey, you know what? Now that you've purchased that and you're about to walk out the door, you should try this white shirt that's actually better than the one you just bought. All of a sudden you go, well, why didn't you just offer me that one in the first place? As opposed to, hey, now that you have this nice white shirt or blouse, you should try this blazer. I think it'll go great with this. That makes sense as an upsell. Or here's some cufflinks, or here's a nice necklace that goes with it, or here's a nice tie. All of those things make sense to complement the shirt that was just purchased. Think about your product in the same way. Problem Y probably solves a big problem that they have. But there are other little things that you could solve as well. And that's what you put in your upsell sequence. And that's what makes building a sales funnel so powerful, is because it's not just about one sale. It's about taking that one sale and then looking for opportunities and offering solutions to your customers so you can increase the value per transaction. And that is the power of a sales funnel. So I hope you got some value out of this video. Make sure to hit that like button and then subscribe and check out the channel link, because I actually have a complete mini course on building a funnel from scratch. It's got a full swipes file and templates and email scripts for you to make this process a complete breeze of building your sales funnel. So I hope you got some value out of this video. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this, where over on my channel, I'm documenting the entire process of putting together a business from scratch. We've got a great growing community of fellow aspiring entrepreneurs over there. So I encourage you to join us on this crazy journey of building a business from nothing. And if you have any questions about building sales funnels, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one of them. So until the next video, keep building the business you love. Take care.